So we are now moving to the next session. And this section is called If You Had a Magic Wand. How many people, I think you've already identified at FAO your magic wand, which is connectivity for everyone. But if we had a magic wand, what is it that you would love to change in this space? We've talked about problems. So the whole point of this session is don't be practical. This is the chance to dream, right? Because big solutions, big ideas might feel impossible, but start with no constraints. Don't worry, we do operate in the real world. We will bring it down. But for now, we just want this to be a space of complete creativity, ideation, solutioning, where you just think, do you know what? If I had a magic wand and I could go, what would I solve? And once again, we're going to try and frame this back on our unconference, and we're going to divide it into 3 topic areas. So one is your advisory services, your extension. The other one is data governance. We've talked about this quite a lot, data governance. And the third one is financial services. And what we're going to do is we're going to head off to our three tables. And around the table, we're picking on the topic that you're most interested in. You want to try and co-create a solution that's ambitious, unconstrained, right? If your solution means everybody has connectivity, that's fine. If your solution, so let's not constrain ourselves, let's think big. But it must be rooted in the realities that we've been talking about. So everything we talked about yesterday, let's keep that. Let's keep the context, let's keep the reality, let's keep the problem very local and the solutions just as wide as we can be. And then really let's figure out what truly transformative change could look like. So that's
Is it for us?
Yes.
Okay.
Elevator pitch, magic wand.
Okay. The magic.
My checkbook is waiting. Come on.
Yeah, sure. The magic wand is, how do you start your advisory engagement with the farmer? Firstly, advisory is an engagement. It's not a one-off event.
Yeah.
So the advisory engagement with the farmer has to commence with trying to build some sort of a plan for the farmer. Like, what are the income goals of the farmer? What are the resources the farmer that has? And what are the technology options that they have in their immediate vicinity? Based on that, create some sort of an income projection and an expense projection. Once we have a consensus, once this advisory platform has a consensus with the farmer, then you sort of take the farmer through that journey, help the farmer connect with the input suppliers so that they can source the innovation bundles or technology bundles, then advise the farmer through the growing season. At the end of the season, help the farmers connect back to the marketplace, right? So this particular magic wand solves multiple problems. First and foremost, it's an engagement. So the farmer is with you through the farming season. Second, it also helps you collect hyper-local data from the farmer, because that is also a big challenge. And secondly, in order to expand the potential use, we just don't want to create, it's not just self-service application for the farmer, but assisted usage. So we want to leverage on the VBA model or the lead farmer model, where there is also an assisted access for farmers to, sort of plug into this sort of a, advisory engagement platform. So is my check ready?
Your check is ready, but also, sorry, too late, because I think you were spying on the board meeting, a couple of the product meetings we had at Kuza a few weeks ago. We've just created that. So it's not a magic, it's there. We will come and present it to you guys. That magic wand is there.
Okay. I need to run to your investors before you do that.
I think so. We haven't IP'd it yet, so we haven't got the patent. So get in there quickly. But
Excellent.
No, but exactly what you said, right? Like, I spot on. We're too busy trying to say, making farmers in this unrealistic scenario work with what they have, connect with what they have, and that's how you do it. And that's actually what we've started. And weirdly, the reason this has been possible now, we've had these ideas for many, many years, but the tech hadn't caught up. But now with AI, we can do it. So we actually have a WhatsApp-powered Gen AI tool that does exactly that. So watch this space, but yeah. I better tell Shri, you better go and patent what you've got, because clearly all these magic wands are coming there. Table number 2. What is your magic wand? My checkbook is waiting. Elevator pitch.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, we talked about data governance in the sort of DPI AI space, and we identify one key challenge that is sort of connected to all sorts of different challenges, which is data ownership within data governance. And talking about data ownership, there are lots of sort of adjacent challenges like data accuracy, interoperability, etc., etc. I could go on. But then we decided to actually cast a spell and duplicate our magic wand. So we are going sort of a modular approach. And we thought actually there are two different ways of thinking about data ownership. There's one which is focused on farmer data ownership. So no matter who collects the data, the source of data should be owning it, which is the farmer, or who is the farmer. And the second idea was a co-ownership model of farmer data. So depending on whether the data is collected by someone else than the farmer, that entity should also have some stake in the ownership. And no matter what the ownership model is, there's a question of who hosts this data. And then we identified, again, like we duplicated our magic wand again, two different ideas. One is a sort of a more centralized idea, the other more decentralized idea, but both ownership models sort of work with these two paths. And the first would be having a centralized repository of data that allows an individualized access. So there's a central entity hosting the data, but the access is still depending on the consent of the farmer. And the second idea would be a decentralized approach to farmer data hosting, where basically we have the consent structure really down to the farmer, and there's no need for a central repository because the data structure itself is already decentralized. Yeah, I think that would sum it up.
Love it. Love it. Please make sure that it is entered in. And, interestingly, as you're talking, again, some similar conversations we've been having, I'd like to share. Think about like the Uber driver, right? Like right now, all the ratings, etc., belong to the Uber platform. But imagine if we could start thinking about portable data, right? Because that data actually should be the Uber driver's data. They should be able to take it out and give it to Bolt or take a loan or whatever. So I think as you're talking about these models, one of the things that we've been thinking through is data portability, and then you use that as credentialing. So if I'm a farmer and I have been supplying to my suppliers, or I've been using organic inputs and I've been doing that for 3 months, 6 months, that's collateral, that's data information. So it's not just data for the sake of data, but then data that can actually add value, whether it's in the form of credit, access to markets. If I'm an agripreneur and I've been doing lots of trainings and I've done like 1,000 trainings, again, it doesn't matter that I don't have a qualification or a skill. If that's my data, so it's not just data for the sake of it, but data that I can use, carry, portable verification. I mean, that would be amazing. So I've just added to a third magic wand there. Since you doubled it, why not add it? Go on, table number 3. Money.
Our speakers have refused the money topic. Now, we identified that our problem in the money discussions are about unfavorable models that do not work, especially for the group of partners that need this money the most. And we had several examples, and the most one that really stood out is having strategic partnership, a partnership that is well thought through and where every partner or key player really understands money. Like if I am a partner and I'm, for example, the person or the partner that's receiving the money, is receiving the money going to give me profit or a loss based on the model that I have selected to access the money? Or if there was an example that was given on the KSAP project in Kenya, where the government received a soft loan and then gave it back as a grant, but they are still expected to give it back. So how does that model work? So another example was given on the private sector, enabling visibility for smallholder farmers who are identified as the partner that needs this money the most. And an example was given whereby a group of farmers in most cases are always pitched for different kinds of finances. So you find different financing institutions bringing their money either through the government or the different partners, but then the target group is always the same. So if we identify the right enabling entity that will make different or all cooperatives or group of farmers be visible or be viable for financial support, then that would be great. And while doing this, we need to really get rid of greed, because each partner gets into these talks or involvement because of their personal interest. And the more each partner is greedy, the more interest rates goes up. And you find that sometimes it is going up to 21, not because the interest rate should be there, but because all partners are greedy and they want their portion within that value chain. And with fine-tuned models, where a platform is created with strategic partners who sit on a round table to have a discussion, including smallholder farmers who are the beneficiaries, the sources of finances like the GIZ and the World Bank and the FAO, and enabling entities like the government with the right regulatory structures that enables this to work, then the interest rate will be lower. The smallholder farmers benefiting from this financial setup will be able to sustain themselves. The private sector will be able to get their interest on the commodity that they're working on. The financial institution will be able to see the impact of their money, and the financial institutions will be able to get reasonable interest without greed.
Love it. So to summarize, which I loved, which is partnerships, but let's eradicate greed. Now that one, I think it's not just a magic wand for this sector. I think this would just be amazing all around. So I'm up for that.